Hi, I'm Diane Nelson. Welcome to Meet the Candidate of Harrison Township 2020. This project is a joint effort between myself as the Senior Center Coordinator and Melissa Goins, the Library Director for Harrison Township. The program is designed to bring information to the voters of Harrison Township about the people who currently serve the township and others from our community who want to. The library nor the Senior Center endorses any candidates. The only goal of this project is to provide voters with information.
We're talking to David Bratto, candidate for trustee. Tell us about yourself, David.
Hey, Melissa. I am a Republican candidate for trustee. I have served on the board for 6 years. I worked with a number of different trustees that are currently on the board. But about myself, my wife and I decided to build a house here in 1997, and I really like the community. I'm very happy with the school system and everything about the community. I think it's a really nice place to raise a family. Before that, though, we lived in St. Clair Shores, and I owned an advertising agency in downtown Detroit. We were in the River Place complex, which is owned by Stroh's. So Stroh's was one of my biggest clients. Did a lot of work for a lot of packaging work for them, and I did some military work for Cadillac Gage, and did work for Chrysler Publications and GM Parts, people like that. And then one of my customers offered me a job, one of my largest customers, to go to work for them and set up an advertising department at their company. So I thought, well, for a couple of years I'll do that, and I ended up staying for 16 years. He was the gentleman that also owned Mac Ray Harbor and Mac and Ray's. So I kind of launched the marina and the restaurant for them too. That was a new place back in the early 90s. So I helped him with the marketing on that. And then we grew his company from about 180 million to 700 million. It was sold. We were privately held. It was sold, and that gave me the opportunity to kind of slow down a little bit. I had a real stressful job. I was a general manager of worldwide marketing, and I was in charge of technical training for 40,000 employees. So I had a very stressful position there, and I'm pretty lucky I still have hair, actually. I also taught at McClung Community College for 8 years in the media and communications department, which I really enjoyed. And then after we sold the company, I decided to open a franchise in Shelby Township. We're a custom picture framing franchise. You can see some of our work back here behind me. And we've got about 6,000 customers. We've been in business since 2007. So that's probably, I have 3 kids. They all went to Lance Cruise, so they all graduated from college, from Michigan colleges, and they're all doing well. And my wife and I are real happy. So we have 2 dogs. You may hear them barking in the background. They're always out there on the patrol,
Yes. What originally prompted you to run for trustee?
Prior to 2008, the board was a pretty dysfunctional board. There was a lot of arguing. They weren't working together. The news media was coming to the meetings and they were filming it, and they were doing stories about the board because it was not good. So, that being said, I think Jan Jorgensen and Tony Forlini were doing the best that they could to try to be a productive board, but they were really having a lot of problems. So I approached Tony and said, I think I'm going to run in 2008. I think we need to transform this board into something that's more productive, that's working for the community, and not focusing on working against one another. And so that was really that was my focus. I worked with Jack Swatowski and Bill Patanti and Adam, Jan, Ken Verkest, Darren York, Frank Capral. We all worked together. I was on the board for 6 years, and during that time, I wanted to bring business back to the community, which we did. We brought we helped Tony Forlini bring Yanbang into the community, which has been very good for the community. We developed the downtown development area in Crocker and Jefferson area. We're trying to develop that into a nice walkable area at some point when we have the money raised through the DDA. We did I did a lot of positive things with that board when I was on for about 6 years, and I really enjoy myself. So.
Good. What do you see as general concerns for the township, and how do you plan to address them?
Well, I think that the township is a nice community. I don't think that we need to look at our township as a problem. I think we just need to enhance the quality of life that we've already got, with things like the library and things like, connectivity of the bike path and sidewalks. I do think we need to continue to try to connect the sidewalk system and the bike path, like maybe send it out to Mount Clemens, as long as we can get some grant money to do that. I was one of the board members that voted to put the bike path in, so I'd like to continue that. I do think that roads are probably the biggest concern of the community. The local roads some of them are really bad, which is why we tried to put together a local road millage while I was on the board, and we almost passed it. It was real close, but that's something that's very costly, and I think that's got to go to a vote of the people. I don't think that 7 people should be making a decision for $26,000. I think we need to let the residents decide on something like that. So that being said, I think roads are a problem, and I think they need to be addressed. The water, obviously, clean water, the sewer system, our water mains, some of them are really old and they're bursting. And, we have to address infrastructure issues before they become so costly to the residents that it's, we can't keep kicking the can down the road. We have to address some of these issues. And water main breaks are an issue, and it's a problem. And sewers are becoming a problem. We've already addressed some of the pump stations. It's costly, but we have to do it. I mean, our community is growing and the infrastructure is getting older. So that being said, roads, infrastructure. I've always been a diligent supporter of health and safety. As I think that's one reason why the fire department has endorsed me since 2008. I've always had a good relationship with the firefighters. I think it's important that we have strong fire system and EMS and strong police, because we're a destination community. Every road in Harrison Township dead ends here, except for the freeway. So I think it's important that we have a self-contained system that's working efficiently. I do think that our waterways, our water needs to be protected. There's a lot of problem. I think you'd have to live in a cave somewhere to not know that there's a lot of dumping of raw sewage happening from other communities. And the water table here is high this year because of the infrastructure problems and because of the water table, and because this system was built in the 50s and the population has grown exponentially. They don't know where to put the water, so it dumps into the lake, which is a bad situation. It's not something that a trustee is going to handle themselves. We're a part-time position, and that's a multi-$100-million problem. This is something that Candace Miller's got some plans for. Other municipalities are involved. The state's involved. I mean, it's not a part-time trustee's job. So all we can do as a representative of this community is work together with the larger entities to help them and be as cooperative for them as we possibly can, which is obviously my intention. I would like to improve the cable studio in the Board of Trustees room. It's been neglected for a long time. It's really old and archaic. It needs to be digitized and brought up to a level of quality that all the other communities are at. It's really hard to even watch a meeting sometimes. I think from a community standpoint, I'd like to do some more things in Tucker Park. I'd like to put together a farmer's market that's a weekly thing. I like to have in St. Clair Shores and other communities. I'd like to put together art fairs. I'm very passionate about art and public art. So which is, why I love all the sculptures in the community. And I would like to put together a walkable dining district, kind of where Luigi's is at in Jefferson Street, the Sandbars. There's so many restaurants, Terry's Terrace, are all right together right there. I'd like to put together a walkable area that's well lit, where people can walk from restaurant to restaurant, maybe do something that would help to promote the business in that area, because I think once we make that walkable, a lot of those vacancies are going to go away. I'm actually looking at a space over there now to put a business in there for my daughter. So, anyway, those are some of the ideas. I mean, it's easy to have a lot of ideas, but again, you got to have a balance between what's going to cost the residents and what impact it's going to have on their quality of life. I don't want to say yes to everything, because then it's going to cost the residents a lot of money. So you have to just kind of measure those things as they come through as agenda items.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what are your involvements in community affairs?
Well, throughout the township, I served on the election commission for 6 years, which we basically run the elections for the community. I served on the environmental committee for 6 years. I was a board liaison, and we took care of a lot of the raw dumping that was done, some of the coastlines, cleaned up a lot of the debris along the waterfront. Got a lot of awards from Candace Miller and the governor's office. It was a very positive experience for everyone. I'm currently the vice chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals. I work with a separate board on that, and that's been very interesting. I've really enjoyed that. Now, in the past, I co-chaired a charitable committee for the company I work for. We gave out about $500,000 over the course of nearly 10 years to Leader Dogs for the Blind, Michigan Humane Society, the YMCA, Southeastern Chapter, Red Cross, St. Jude's Children's Hospital. One of my dogs has showed up. Sorry. But currently, I'm not involved in a lot of charitable things. This year has been a rough year for businesses, just trying to keep our businesses going. So, but I'm always involved in something. I'd love to be on the beautification commission if I get reelected. I really like that group. They do a great job.
Great. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, David, that I didn't cover?
No, I just appreciate everyone considering me for their vote, and try to stay safe and keep extra masks in your car. Even if you don't want to wear one, we have to. So it's important that we all stay healthy. And that's about it.
Well, thank you so much for telling us about yourself, David, and for offering to serve our community.
Hey, thank you, and good luck with your village for the library.
Thank you.
I'm Melissa Goins. Thank you for tuning in to meet the candidates of Harrison Township 2020. Don't forget to vote at the polls on August 4th and November 3rd, or with an absentee ballot. All voting information for Harrison Township can be found at htvotes.com. That's HT for Harrison Township, votes.com.